Good evening, everyone. I would like to start out by welcoming you all here tonight. I want to take a few seconds to introduce myself. My name is Julie Braden, and I'm a pre-K teacher here at Odenville Elementary School. I have been a pre-K teacher here for 1 year. This is my first year. Previously, I've been a pre-K teacher for 3 years. I have graduated from Troy University in 2014 with my bachelor's degree. I'm currently obtaining my master's degree in early childhood and elementary education from West Alabama. I've also previously been a substitute teacher for K through 12 in Butler County, where I used to live with my husband right after we got married. I would like to thank you all for coming today. I want to thank all of you who traveled. This is Odenville being the center of the county. I know that some of you traveled a little ways, but I wanted to make sure that I gathered everybody in a central location for tonight's meeting, because I know that it is very important to get everybody aware of the issues going on in our schools regarding safety. Whether you be a teacher like I am, an administrator of the school, part of the board, a parent, or just part of the community, whether you are a church member around the area, or you serve as a pastor, or you serve in sports around the area. I want you to know that you are all welcome, and we're so glad that you're here, because all of your voices matter. And I'm very honored that you all came to see a little bit about what means so much to me in regards to safety in our schools. I first wanted to introduce our a panel of attendees. First, we have Miss Krista Urban. Miss Urban is a principal here at Odenville Elementary School. She's been the principal for 14 years. Before that, she was a teacher for 10 years. She is also a parent of a first grader and a 10th grader, and Krista and her family live in Hoover. Second on the panel, we have Jessica Stansel. Jessica is a pre-K teacher in St. Clair County schools, and she has been teaching for 6 years. Previously to that, she's been an assistant teacher and obtaining her master's degree as well. Jessica is also a parent. She has twin girls that are in the 3rd grade in St. Clair County schools. Jessica and her family live in Odenville. Next on our panel, we have Amber Rhodes. Amber is a parent in the community. She's also a substitute teacher, and she is very active in our schools. She's a substitute teacher for K through 12th grade. Amber has a daughter and a son, and Amber's kids are in elementary school and high school, and she loves being a part of the community. Our special guest for the evening, and I'm so glad that he could be here, is Mr. Mike Howard. Mike Howard is the current superintendent. He is the newly elected superintendent of St. Clair County Schools. Previously, he has been a high school principal for many years and an assistant principal. Before being a principal, he has been a special education teacher, and he is very, very concerned with the safety of our schools in the area. His platform when he was being elected was about the safety in our schools, and he wants to make sure that the schools are doing the best they can to prevent any instances of violence in any of our schools. He is here to talk about, to answer some questions that you guys may have, and he wants to stay after to introduce himself to anybody that would like to meet him. The purpose of our meeting for tonight is definitely the safety in our schools. It is a huge issue. Not the main issue, but it is a very, very important issue for teachers, administrators, parents, and we just want to make sure that all of our schools are safe, and our students feel safe, and our kids feel safe when they go to schools. Just a little bit about tonight. When I get done talking, I've introduced our panel. They will be answering a few questions that I have. I'm going to talk about a little bit about the concerns that I have regarding safety in schools. I'm going to let the panel talk and answer our questions. Then I'm going to let our superintendent and special guest for this evening answer those questions as well. After the meeting for tonight, I invite you to stay around, have a couple of snacks and hors d'oeuvres, and we have some drinks available as well. If you would like to converse with people around the area, get to know some people, meet some new faces, or even if you need to ask any more follow-up questions that you may have for me or Mr. Mike Howard or any of our panel members, you may stay around and ask those as well. So in the past 2 to 3 years, there have been many incidences that have happened in our schools all over the nation that have parents and teachers and community worried. One of these well-known instances happened in 2018 in Parkland, Florida. A gunman opened fire in Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, killing 17 people and injuring 17 more. Later that year, another incident happened in Santa Fe, Texas. This happened on May 18th, where another gunman opened fire at Santa Fe High School, killing 10 people and injuring 13 more. They were all students and teachers, and that's where this is so huge, and it's important that we come and find ways that we can be proactive and implement ways that we can be safe and these instances cannot happen. Ways to prevent these instances from happening in our schools, because these are students and teachers that have lost their lives to these tragedies. In my opinion, these incidences, along with many others, have happened because I believe there's not enough security. Our country as a whole does our county, as a whole does a great job at implementing safety measures, procedures, being safe within our schools, and making sure that all of our students are safe. And throughout the school and the county as a whole, we have drills at least 3 to 4 times a year with our students, and a couple of times during the summer without our students, just to get the teachers familiar and able to do these. Each teacher is prepared every single day by locking their doors at all times, keeping walkie-talkies on hand and ready for any emergencies that may happen, whereas we won't be able to go over intercoms and make announcements in case somebody is in the building and doesn't need to hear. We have our walkie-talkies on hand, handy, ready for those incidences. And we are educating our students about strangers in the building and about bullying and about violence in our schools and how it's not okay, and just different measures that we can take to get our children to notice these things that are happening and come to us and tell us if any of these things that are happening. I know that in most of our schools, visitors must be buzzed in at the front door by the front office. There's a video there where the front office can see these visitors coming in. And classroom-wide, our teachers are discussing safety measures, and I believe that our schools are doing a great job when it comes to safety for our students. However, I would like to find more ways that we can be proactive in stopping any future incidences. So I have a few questions that I would like to ask. I've panned the audience before our meeting started, and these are around about kind of this. I came up with a few of the same questions that some of you guys were asking, and so these are some of the questions that I will be asking the panel and special guests for tonight. The first question we have is, do you believe there are any issues of violence in our schools? If so, please explain. The second question that I have from audience members is, what is one thing that you would implement in St. Clair County schools that would help the safety of our children and students? Our next question is, what can we do as a community to help our schools become? another question is, what are some tips or information that we can share with our children to help them come forward with any safety concerns that they may have? Our last question states, what procedures are in place in our schools regarding school safety? That was a big question from a lot of our parents and community members that have students coming up that will be soon entering our elementary schools, and they're new parents, so they have not yet had children in our schools before. So that is a main question that I've heard from a lot of them. And then we have a bonus question as, what are your thoughts on bullying in our schools? Thank you all for coming this evening. That is all I have for you guys. I want to thank all of you. You know, this is a huge topic, and it just helps us better understand school violence and school safety, and we want to be proactive when it comes to any other things that are happening in our schools. I want to invite you to stay afterwards if you would like. Me, myself, the panel of members, and our special guest, Mr. Mike Howard, will be staying after to answer any other questions that you may have. He would also like to meet people of the community and get to know them and shake some hands. If y'all would like to stay after and just ask questions, meet somebody new in the community that you may not know, or anything like that, and chit chat. We also have refreshments and beverages there if you would like to stop by me. Thank you so much for coming.